Do you remember all those cinematic shots that Hollywood has been doing for ages, but us indie filmmakers never have the resources to do? Until now. Enter Osmo Pocket. Let's talk about those cinematic shots and some hacks to achieve those without spending millions of dollars. So what is it that us indie filmmakers want most of all? I mean, yeah, lots of money, of course, and fame and recognition, but we always want our movies to look cinematic. We want them to look high production value, but all those things cost money, which is why they're called high production value. For example, when I make films, I always have the shortage of money, but also the shortage of what I would call baggage allowance. So for example, I live in Yorkshire, but I make films in London because I have access to more actors, more crew members, more locations. Well, locations I can find here as well, but everything else is just more opportunities down south in London. So I have to travel with my filming kit, which is like a trolley bag about this big, which is a Samsonite bag, an old one that I've been using for a while, and a Swiss Gear backpack about this size, and they are both filled with all the filmmaking gear that I can afford to take with me. After I fill those bags with the kit, there is no space for anything. So if I want to use a slider on one of my shots, I can't, because the slider is about this big, this thick, and it weighs about 3 kilos or maybe 5 kilos depending on the slider, even if it's a manual slider. So I would like to take slider shots for my films, but I cannot. For example, let me show you this one. In this shot, what I would really like to do is, when the girl is delivering the long dialogue, I would like to go with the camera to the right and slide it smoothly along to the left, so that they are called Peter and Rachel. So when you are looking at Rachel from the right, you look at her over Peter's right shoulder, and then when you slide the camera across to the left, she is hidden partially by his body, and then you again see her, but this time over his left shoulder. So far, the only way to do that was having some kind of a slider. So which meant either you have to carry one and then assemble it on the set, which means slowing down your workflow. And we all know locations are either very expensive, or if they are free location, then you have to be out by this many hours. So it was not always possible. But now recently, after I bought the Osmo Pocket, I started experimenting with that kind of shots. So let me show you an example. So this is just a slider shot straight across. That's my nephew on this screen. Handsome lad, isn't he? And this is just a simple shot, simple, smooth, slow slider shot. And then sometimes you want to have the revealing shot that I was talking about, and let's see this one. So here you can see these are both taken by the Osmo Pocket handheld. One time I had the mobile connected to the Osmo Pocket, other time I had no mobile connected with it. Doesn't matter, it's always a smooth and stabilized shot. Then check out these couple of shots where I'm sliding from below and going over something like a fence or a railing, and then revealing the scene. These are both part of my B-roll as well. It's called Osmo Pocket B-roll. I'll put the link in the description so you can check that out. And then there's that shot where they have a camera mounted on a big crane, and then you can see a car just below that, and then the car drives off, and sometimes they put some text under that on the road, like, you know, something like intermission or something like that. So that we can't do that with the DSLR because we don't have a crane, we don't have any resources to do that kind of a shot. But with the Osmo Pocket, it's easy to do. Just see in this footage, you can see that we mounted the Osmo Pocket to the tripod with just gaffer tape. Just to be sure that the gaffer tape doesn't leave any residue, it doesn't usually, but just to be extra sure, I put a plastic bag around the Osmo Pocket first before putting gaffer tape on it. There are two special things in this shot in the preparation. One is you would see that arm that's going perpendicular to the main body of the tripod. That's the feature of the tripod. So I'll put the link for the tripod below in the description, so you can check it out if you want. And also the second thing is that we connected that with a cable. So connected the Osmo Pocket with an extension, USB-C extension cable down to the phone. So while my nephew was lifting the tripod, or actually just the monopod part of it, over the car, I was looking at the frame in the mobile phone. Once we had everything set up, then I started the recording and then took the phone away from the cable, and then I drove off in the car while he held the shot.
You have seen this in countless movies and even TV shows. This one is easy. The only thing you need to be aware of is the focus. If you move too fast, it will lose the focus. And also your ninja walk needs to be much better than mine. If you have a follow mode on, it works at least as long as you can see the face. When you go behind the subject, it would lose the subject, but at that time, if you go slowly, it will still keep the focus on the same point.
And then there is one more shot which has always puzzled me as to how they do it, and that's where the camera actually is under the vehicle, under like a truck or a car, and they drive the vehicle over the camera, and you can see the vehicle approaching, and then you can see it receding in the other direction. I used to think how they do it, and from what I have found out so far is in the studios they have these places which are specially set up, and the camera is under the road level, and then they can drive the vehicle over it. Well, we don't have that kind of a setup, and I would not put my DSLR under any cars because it's a little big, and I'm sure it would hit something under the car. With the introduction of Osmo Pocket, I thought I would give this a try. The preparation was very simple. I took a simple box, cardboard box, and put the Osmo Pocket on it in such a way that the neck, the gimbal neck, was free to move. If you want to know, it was the box that my cable came in, the extension cable. This is what my USB-C extension cable came in. So just a tip, if you buy that cable, don't throw the box away. And then I just drove the car very slowly over it. I'll share one thing with you. When I drove it right over it, my heart did miss a beat right then. I was like, oh my God, did I just destroy my... But it was okay. And the only thing to take care there is not just that you put it right in the middle of the car width-wise, so that the wheels are nowhere near it, but also make sure that there's nothing leaking under the car, there's no undercarriage, there's no towing hooks or anything that can hit the Osmo Pocket while you're driving over it. So if you see, I'll show you this picture. I took a picture just before I drove the car over the Osmo Pocket with the Osmo Pocket itself to make sure there was nothing under it. There was complete clear access under the car for the Osmo Pocket to lie untouched. And the way I prepared that shot was we put the Osmo Pocket on the box like this in this direction, and then connected the extension cable here, put it to the phone, and then set the frame, turn the camera in the follow mode. And then when it was perfectly set up, then very lightly pulled the cable out of this and moved away with the phone after starting the recording. And then I drove the car over it. Then we had to do a second shot for the same thing in the other direction when the car goes over it, but the camera is pointing in that direction where you would see the back of the car from the camera. And then it's a simple method of joining the two shots in the post-production. And there you have it, Hollywood level cinematic shot done with just a small camera and a cardboard box. So I have always envied people who can have a drone and take all those amazing, wonderful, great wide view shots. But the problem is you need to have a drone. They are not very cheap. Second, even if you bought the drone, you need to have the skill to fly it. You need to have the permission to fly it. And in a city, usually you would never get permission to fly it. But there is a way that you can take your Osmo Pocket with you and a tripod, and you can fake a drone shot. Obviously, you can't go 2000 feet in the air or anything like that, but you can fake a reasonable facsimile of a drone shot. Here's how we did it. We used my KFN Concept tripod, and we pulled out just the monopod part of it. It has one leg that just you can screw off, and you can mount the ball head on it. And then on that, using one of the mounting hacks that I've shown you in the other video, I'll put the link below for that as well. We mounted the Osmo Pocket on that, used the cable to set the frame, and then my nephew Saga, he also has his channel. I'll put his channel's link in the description as well, so you can check it out, give him some love. And he lifted the monopod over his head, facing the traffic. And then I had the phone in my hand with the cable connected to the Osmo Pocket, and I could use that to move the camera about and get the view that I wanted. So you could take pictures, you could take video, whatever you want. I would be really interested to see what kind of cinematic hacks you guys are developing, what kind of things you are doing with the Osmo Pocket. Or if you have any questions, if you want to if you want me to try some different cinematic shots, if you want to find out how some different shots are they possible to do with the Osmo Pocket or not, let me know. Put your questions and comments in the comments below, and then I'll try those shots out and let you know if they're possible with the Osmo Pocket or not, or if they're possible, how to achieve them. Thank you for watching, and please think about subscribing to our channel. We put out all these useful and entertaining stuff every so often.